It's day 2 in the Balkans, and we're off to see the cliff-top monasteries of Meteora, which rise above the plains of Thessaly. In the 11th century, monks seeking the ascetic life found it here atop the sandstone pinnacles of Meteora. The word is a Greek term for suspended in the air, which is exactly what these monasteries seem to be. Consider ourselves lucky today because the monasteries of Meteora are now accessible by road. You can even see some tour buses and some cars over there in the distance. Up until the 1920s, the only way up the monastery was by rope or by net or by some crude ladder, which the monks would take away whenever they felt threatened. So yes, we are lucky. So let's enjoy the view. Meteora's Greek Orthodox monasteries were too far, too hard to climb. They were left untouched by the invading Muslim Ottomans in the 16th century and by modernity up until recently. But now that some have opened their doors to the public for a fee, mass tourism is altering the monastic atmosphere irreversibly. The oldest, highest, largest, and most popular of the 6 remaining monasteries is the Great Meteoron, founded in 1340. While the monks have devised innovative ways to get to and from the monastery today, visitors still need to do it the old and hard way, on foot, but it's worth it. The highlight is the Church of the Transfiguration, with its Greek cross shape and octagonal dome. The monastery was where monks lived out their lives. Here they cooked, worked, prayed, and passed away. Perched on the highest pinnacle, the Great Meteoron also offers the broadest views of the other monasteries, the Pindus Mountains, and the plains of Thessaly. Because of the secretive monastic society that lives here and the eerie landscape, Meteora has been chosen as a backdrop for pop cultural creations as varied as the Game of Thrones to James Bond. And that explains why there's so many visitors here. But there are still a few monasteries where you can find some peace and quiet. Summer is when tourism peaks, but at daybreak or off-season, you can still see aspects of monastic life little changed from the last century. Despite the new access roads and steps that were built leading to the different monasteries of Meteora, some of these are harder to reach on foot than others, and therefore more isolated and also more peaceful. One of these is the monastery of St. Trinity. This is what monasteries were like before they opened up to the public. These monasteries have outlived wars and calamities. I can only hope they can also outlast the relentless crush of humanity. The monasteries don't serve meals or take in overnight guests, at least not yet. But you can make the nearby town of Kalambaka your base when visiting. There's not much to do here, but the views of the pinnacles from ground level are amazing. It's also a great place to discover the fresh produce of Thessaly, which represents 40% of agriculture in Greece. And try the local cuisine, known for olive oil, sheep's cheese, and something we'll be seeing a lot more of throughout the Balkans: roast and grilled meat. Goodbye to Meteora as we take the road to Macedonia. From northern Greece, or what the Greeks call Macedonia, we're on our way now across the border to the Republic of Macedonia. I know it sounds really confusing. That's why we're making a stop over here in this village called Vergina. You see, this place explains the history of Macedonia and the Macedonian Empire. Now down the slope over here, you'll see the remains of a palace of Macedonian kings, and further down, the tombs of the likes of Philip II, you know, the father of Alexander the Great. Vergina is a current name for Aegai, the first capital of Macedon before Alexander the Great ruled from Pella. In 1917, archaeologists discovered royal tombs underneath these mounds, including the tomb of King Philip II, Alexander's father. It's now a museum and UNESCO World Heritage Site, and for people who claim Macedonian ancestry, the place continues to fuel debate over who has the right to be called one. From Greek Macedonia, we cross the border to a country with a similar name, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. We arrive at the Lakeside district of Ohrid, stopping by the 10th century Orthodox Church and Monastery of St. Nome at night. It's one of many holy sites in Ohrid overlooking the lake. That combination of spirituality and natural beauty that has drawn pilgrims and travelers to this place, along with their legendary hospitality. Macedonians are well known in the former Yugoslavia for their musical talent as well as for their cooking skills. The popular Belvedere restaurant provides a perfect introduction to authentic Macedonian and Southern Balkan specialties in a traditional setting. Dairy and freshwater fish figure prominently, as does pljeskavica, the popular Balkan specialty. It's grilled ground meat like a burger, but from a mix of lamb, beef, and pork, and stuffed with garlic, paprika, onions, and cheese. Altogether, it's a fantastic, and with live music, a fun-filled meal. We've covered 2 countries in 2 days so far. Up next, we'll explore Ohrid's lakeside attractions and cross the border to our 3rd country on this Balkan road trip. A look at the once reclusive Albania when executive class returns.